Hi there. I'm whispering because I'm trying this out, and my son is taking a nap, but hopefully my ASMR is still gonna work and that you can still hear me. I wanted to take this opportunity to record something because I think moms, when we have children, and we also want to balance our life and work, and we want to, you know, make sure that we cover everything. We do what we can, right? So hopefully this works and it'll be a different experience. This is the first time that I'm doing this, so we'll see. Welcome to Discover Your Unique Self. My name is Sally G. Tadina, and today I wanted to show you how to refer to your human design chart overview. Now, this is something that you get when you have a reading with me. It usually comes with that, and I give it to you as a copy after our session. And I use it. It's really for me. I use it to refer to it while I do my reading. And I just give it to you as a copy so that you can have something to refer to in the future. So this video, because it's been requested that I explain what the report, how to like refer to the report, this will help you. So if you've had a reading with me and you have a copy of this report, this chart, or maybe you've purchased just the chart alone, then definitely you might want to watch this video. Before we start, I wanted to explain something so that we understand that you don't really need to learn everything about human design to know about you. That's why we get the professionals to do it for us so that we can just focus on what we truly need to know just to even begin with, because there's so much to learn about us and it can be complicated, can be discouraging if you have to like learn every single details. Now for me it's different because when I first had my reading and it was introduced to me, um, before I even had my reading, I did my own research. And when I had my reading, it validated so much why I even did my research to begin with. I found out that I had that as my motivation to really know more about something so that I could feel certain and secure. So maybe that might be your motivation too. Or maybe you're a projector like me. I'm a mental projector, 2-4 mental projector, cross of consciousness. So that's my mythology. You know, everybody has that. That's their unique mythology. So I will be showing you screen. I'll be sharing my screen so that you can see what I'm talking about. I want to make sure that I'm sharing it because last time I made a video and it took maybe 30 minutes and I thought I was sharing it and I was talking in the background. And when I watched the video again, it didn't show any screen sharing. And so that just went to waste. So this time I want to make sure that I'm actually sharing and sharing the right document here. So I'm using my son's uh, chart because he's a generator. And that way you might be able to relate because we have many different types of human beings. And the most common generators are 70% of humanity. we have generators and manifesting generators. So each generator is a third of humanity, if you can put it that way, because manifesting generator is also a third. So combined, they're considered generators. Combined, they're 70% of humanity. And then we have projectors, 20% of humanity. Now, projectors have different subtypes. So we have mental projectors and other energy projectors. Splenic depends on what the chart looks like. And we also, for different types, all I know is that for mental projectors, we're 2% of humanity. And then we have, I should say, manifestors. They're about 9% of humanity. And then we have reflectors, which is really rare because that's 1% of humanity. So you will be able to see here right away, we have basic information up here where you can see your type. And then you can see, so pretty much what type means is like it's based on your aura. Now we are in this physical body, right? We're in this flesh. But beyond physical, we have auras. It's your spirit, right? We have a spirit in our body. So you can see the energy extending beyond our physical. And it's about, if you double the size or the length of your arm, that's how far it extends. So if you want to be in your own aura and feel what it's like to be in your own aura, then just measure that and just kind of visualize how far that goes, and then make sure there's no one there, no other auras, not even a dog. And then feel what it's like to be yourself in your own space, in your own time. Now, the other thing is that we have planets with their own kind of like this like chart, and we call that transit. So the planet also has influence over us, everybody, but not everybody's going to be affected the same way. So it's kind of like being with another person next to us. We could be absorbing their energy. We are sharing each other's energy. We have this essence that we breathe in and we breathe out. So we're really sharing that aura. And when you are with more than anywhere between 3 and 5 people, we have what we call penta. So our aura actually isn't fixed. It's transauric. So when we begin to be in a group of people, 3 to 5, you'll notice that if you are aware, you'll notice some changes. It could change the way you behave. It could change the way you feel. And it could also change the way you think. And it could change your physical, like who we're with changes us physically. But I won't get into too much details here because, again, there's a lot to learn. But I just want to make this mastery just going simple and easy with you today. And just to give you some overview of what human design is. Just gonna have a little sip here, my tea. It's good. Okay, so in my experience, human design is something that it's a tool that we can use to experiment about us, to learn about our individuality. This is like, for me, I've never seen anything like it because there's no knowledge out there that really customizes or that really goes deep into your own individual nature. Every other tools that I've been introduced to, they're great, but I'm not comparing this, or I'm not comparing it in a negative way. I'm just saying that I've never seen anything that really addresses your own unique nature. Because, we have genes, right? And you're familiar with that. If we talk about science, the science behind this is scientific. And a little bit of science here. We have what we call neutrino, and you can actually do your own research and Google that and find your own credible source and see what comes up. Like if you type in neutrino, you should be able to see something like it's almost massless, like there is no mass to it, like really close to zero. We can barely, we can't see it. It's coming mainly from the sun, and it penetrates everybody really fast at the speed of light. So every second, you get about trillions of these neutrinos. And now that's raw information that everybody is, I would just call it downloading. And imagine yourself, because you are crystals of consciousness. Now, just imagine that for a minute, just for the sake of this explanation. Every human being has crystals of consciousness. I'm actually going to share that screen so that you can see what I'm talking about. Here you go. So you can see that we have this crystal, and this is you. Okay, this is a crystal, crystals of consciousness. So we have personality and design crystal, and you'll get to see that later when I show you the other chart. And the neutrino is penetrating this crystal, and we get a lot of that. Like I said, every second we're getting that. Right now as I speak, you're downloading that information through your body, through your crystals. And what happens, it enters through what we call base. In the context of human design, we call it base. And then as it gets into the deeper into it, it goes through tone, and that's your inner frequency. Now, your tone is your cognition. This is the tonal architecture of your crystal. So the cognition is, as an example, this for me, it's outer vision. That's like, we can call it sense. That's your powerful sense. It's how it actually helps with your decision making process. Because when you see something, you do something, or it's something, you think about something, right? So it connects to every part of your body. It connects to your mind. It connects to your feelings. So there is something inside of you that filters that information. And everybody's going to be different. Because if you think about this crystal, this is a part of, the Big Bang, when it shattered a bunch of these particles, these crystals. They've spread out, they shattered, and you're one of them. So anybody right next to it, you could be, you're a part of that. So whoever's around you when that happened, those are your people. and we call it fractal. So those are your people. These are people who, when you speak to them, they just get you, and vice versa. These people recognize you. And because they recognize you, they value you. And this is why you connect together. And if you can imagine finding all your fractals, because when you become your unique self, your fractals will come to you, as they have to be healthy as well. They need to be themselves in order for them to recognize you, regardless of the conditioning, right? This is what we're doing here, is to make sure that everybody is connecting the way that everybody is living their life. And you only get to live your life when you are really following when you're in alignment with yourself. So this crystal here, as I was explaining, so it gets into the tone and then it exits through what we call color. And from there, you get all the conditioning here, right? So if your tone is not functioning correctly because of, your conditioning, you're conditioned by food, by people, society, planets, environment. We're always conditioned. This is not something you can avoid. But what you can do is learn about you, how unique you are, because your tone is perfect to begin with, and nothing wrong with it. It's not broken, it's perfect. But sometimes, because of all the conditioning around us, we become something else. We do things that are outside of ourselves. We compare ourselves and we act like everybody else. But we have our own unique design. But it's so easy for us to be so conditioned from our open centers. And so when your tone isn't working properly, imagine what that can do with the information, raw information coming through us, yet we don't see it the right way. And so we behave in a very different way that is not really serving us or other people. We behave in a way that is not us. Then so it comes out into your behavior, how you act, how you speak, how you think, all of those things. And so color comes out that way. But if you're correct, then it should come out no problem. Whether that means that, even the way that you smell, if someone else, like even somebody who doesn't smell good in general, right? To one person, that could smell like gross. So that's the kind of connection that you're going to get. And that's how different you are. Not everybody is going to experience the same thing just because they're in the same area. So color. So let's go back to your chart, or to my son's chart. And I will show you. There you go. And then you will be able to see where that shows up. We have right here, you can see your personality sun, gate 28. So the sun at the time of your birth was in gate 28. That's the I Ching, that's a hexagram. And it's also, again, maybe I have to go and show you that here. So go look at the mandala. Oh, sorry, it's up there. Here you go. Let's use this one. So you'll see this numbers around it. We have 64 gates, 64 codons that represents the genes. We have 64 types of your genetics, right? Your codons. So we have 64 of them. It's actually like a mystery, right? It's a magic number. We have 64 of, like, what are the odds, right? 64 crayons, the colors, and then 64, I think in the chess, the number. I forgot the other, like, the other numbers, why this is kind of like the pattern of the 64 besides the genes, right? Anyway, so we have the 64 hexagrams, the gates around this, and it's divided very, very perfect. So each gate will have 6 lines, as you can see here. And the sun or any planet, right, they move counterclockwise. So at a specific time, and they all move in a different pace. So every single one will have to go through every single line as well. Every single gate, they have to also look at which line in that gate. So that's what you see here, lines and gates. Earlier when I showed you, if you go down here, you'll see a more detailed description of each gate. So that in the gate 28, but it was in line 5, and then color 1, because you go a layer deeper, right? Remember I showed you the crystal, it starts from the base. And each number that you see will have its own description of what that is. So base 3, right? So it will say something about that. And then tone 4, what that is, color 1, line 5, gate 28. Again, this is why I say this can go really, really deep and very, very specific, which is fascinating to me. Now, again, I'm going to make this really simple. So you look at your chart. Oh, and also the zodiac and what it's also divided equally. So you can see that which sign it is in. Okay, and so you see this chart here is separated from the personality. So you can see the chart combines both, but it just shows you what it looks like when it's separate. You can't really live separate design from the personality, right? Your body from your mind, you can't. It's just, that's not the way it works. But you get to see what that looks like. So this is your unconscious part. Imagine that's your, like, if this was a road, this was roads, the red ones are the tunnels. So you don't see them all the time. It's unconscious. Sometimes they show up. Sometimes they come out, right? And most of the time it's our friends, the people around us who know more about our unconscious part. And then we have your personality, and this is who you think you are. So imagine that, right? If you have a personality that thinks you're a ballet dancer, but then the design is like a 300-pound, what do you call that? But anyway, you get the idea. So you see the dilemma in people, right? So we need to kind of understand what our design, and our mind will eventually accept what it is and hopefully learn how to take care of it the way that it needs to be taken care of. And that's where the primary health system comes in. So here I'll be able to see, like, what do you need? What does your body need to be nourished? Your body and your brain system. It was through conception, right? Even preconception, everything has a way to actually, it can go back to like you as yourself and entering a relationship correctly. So before you can even enter a relationship correctly, being you first and accepting yourself and loving that. You can't love yourself until you fully understand and accept yourself. And you can't expect someone to love you if you haven't loved yourself. It's not going to come to you. And so we have, as I was speaking earlier, so entering a relationship correctly through your strategy and authority. So if you're a generator, it comes to you through a response. So if somebody says to you, I want you, and then you go, mm-hmm. So that's entering a relationship correctly. So everything that you do, there's a decision to make, right? And it requires a decision. And that is influenced by our cognition to help us recognize if this person is correct for us or if this career is correct for us, whatever that is. Now, so we have here a profile. Your profile is the role that you play in life. So life is like a movie. You have a character that you play, you have a role to play, you have lines. These are actually lines. So you do have a line to say, right? So you can imagine, like in a movie, you have an actor and they have like a line, a popular line, a specific line that everybody knows, but not everybody can play that role the same way, even if they say the same line. So same thing with your character, same thing with your profile. This My son could be 5'1", right? And someone else is 5'1", but they're not gonna act the same way. There's still you know, the sum or the whole isn't the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And what that means is that you can't just take out a profile and describe a person by that. And then you add the description of what a single definition is. And then you add to that their Sacral generator. And then you kind of do the reading that way. It doesn't work that way. It's much better to actually see the being as a holistic and see the whole thing and then understand the person through that and not just limit themselves through like a generator is this, it waits to respond. There's more to it than that. And that's the fascinating part about having your reading done, because that can be integrated. Everything is integrated. And it helps to have that done so that you can truly see it for yourself and experiment with it. This is really for experimenting to see how that works for you. I can't tell you what's going to happen in the future for you because it depends on how you live your design. But all I can say is that if you follow your strategy and authority, you enter things correctly and you will experience what you're meant to experience. That's correct for you. Now, that doesn't always mean it's going to be pleasant, but you know, you get to see that yourself, and you get to tell me after 7 years, I'll be, asking you, so how did you do, with all the experiments? How did you do? How's your life? Because you could see the result later on. You might not see it right away, but for some people, they might. As soon as they start changing how they eat, sometimes they get that feeling right away that they feel better. Because it really depends on what your determination is. And here you can see determination open. So, for example, if your determination was indirect, and that's very rare for somebody to just eat at night and be awake at night like an owl. Some people are designed that way. So, can you imagine? Because we've been conditioned, most of us eat during the day and awake during the day. And if you're doing that and your body is the other way, then imagine what's that doing to your body, right? Put, you don't give diesel to a gas engine. It's just not going to last. It's going to break. Same thing with your body. So the point of this is to help you have longevity, but at the same time, quality of life. I think I might have to go now, but hopefully this explains what you need to understand. And hopefully that this has been fascinating and informative and valuable for you. I will continue on with this in my next video. So keep following me and I will share more about human design because I'm very passionate about it. So thank you for watching and I hope to hear from you about your any feedback, any requests, or maybe you're interested in learning more about human design. I do have programs and private, personal mentorship. So feel free to reach out. I don't have a website yet. I'm working on it. I'm starting over. So bear with me, but you can reach me on Facebook Messenger because that's where I usually have my conversations. So I'll see you next time. Bye for now.